Welcome. Today we are going to revisit Kapil Muni Ashram as Prithvi Nabhi Kendra, as a Sankhya Nishtha Kendra. Kapil Muni Ashram is at core of the earth. Prithvi Nabhi Kendra is a Sankhya Nishtha Kendra. Sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to have an appreciation and imbibing of the Kapil Muni Ashram at core of the earth, Prithvi Nabhi Kendra, shall approach it as a Sankhya Nishtha Kendra. Lord Shiva, the Transcendental Lord, bestows enlightenment upon the sadhakas, and in terms of this enlightenment that we can have imbibing of Kapil Muni Ashram values as Sankhya Nishtha Kendra. Prithvi Nabhi Kendra, core of the earth, is Sankhya Nishtha Kendra. We can approach the setup of core of the earth, Prithvi Nabhi Kendra, as artifices of numbers. How intelligence traveling along the artifices of numbers can be parallel to the setup of the core of the earth is the topic, aspect of the discipline of Vedic knowledge with which we are going to be confronted today. Sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel to this format, features and values of Vedic systems of Sankhya Nishtha shall entitle oneself by meditating within cavity of one's own heart for the transcendental grace, by providing the consciousness base for the intelligence. One shall go to the shelter of Lord Ganesha and, following the transcendental carrier's path, we shall visit Kapil Muni Ashram as a formulation. This formulation will lead us to values 15 plus 22 plus 16 is equal to 53. Value 53 is the NVF value of axis, and value 53 is also the synthesis value of the pair of transcendence ranges of a solid order. Now, in the context when we will visit Prithvi Nabhi Kendra as a formulation, it will lead us to value 25 plus 20 plus 23 is equal to 68, and value 68 accepts organization as 34 plus 34. Further, value 34 accepts an organization as 7, 8, 9 and 10, parallel to fourfold manifestation layer of hypercube 9. As such, from here we can have an idea as to how the Kapil Muni Ashram, with its location at Prithvi Nabhi Kendra, is going to provide us the Sankhya Nishtha Kendra values. The formulation Sankhya Nishtha Kendra as 19 plus 22 plus 23 is equal to 64 brings us face to face with the range of values minus 46, 35, 24, 13, 2, 9, 20, 31, 42, 53 and 64. We can see that this is 11 steps long range. This 11 steps long range is parallel to the 11 geometries range of 5 space. Therefore, the Sankhiya Nishtha Kendra as of value 64 is availing 11 steps long format of 11 geometries of hypercube of 5 space, and the 11 versions of hypercube 5 are the representative regular bodies of 11 geometries of 5 space. These 11 geometries of 5 space with these 11 versions of hypercube 5 as the representative regular bodies of 5 space will provide us a format beneath this 11 steps long range of values of summation value 64. Now see, the value 64 is a value of the synthesis of the creative dimensional order. So if we are having a pair of creative dimensional ranges with the dimensional glue 4 in the role of a creative dimension, we see that we will be reaching at value 64. As such, the transition happening because of the format at Prithvi Nabhi Kendra for Kapil Muni Ashram is to lead us to a Sankhiya Nishtha Kendra. Therefore, to reach at and to be parallel with the Sankhiya Nishtha Kendra within Kapil Muni Ashram, then we have to revisit the formulation 53 of the formulation Kapil Muni Ashram and value 64 of a Sankhiya Nishtha Kendra. We have to have a pause and we have to note that Kapil Muni Ashram as value 53 is a parallel to the axis value, solid axis, and this solid axis we know is at the Nabhi, at the center, at the origin of the creators of space. Here is a solid dimensional order. It is this solid dimensional order within which is the location of a Kapil Muni Ashram. And this axis, this origin, is again having a 6 space in the role of an origin of a origin. Therefore, this solid axis of value 53 is embedded in an origin of value 64. One shall have a pause here and one shall revisit the formulation Kapil Muni Ashram as of value 53 equal to NVF of axis and equal to the synthesis value of pair of transcendence ranges of solid order on the one hand, and value 64 as value of the synthesis of a pair of transcendence ranges of the creative order. Further, we know that NVF of unit is equal to 64. NVF axis is 53. NVF unit is 64. 53 is the synthesis value of the pair of transcendence ranges of solid order. Value 64 is the synthesis value of the pair of transcendence ranges of creative order. It is this coordination of the Kapil Muni Ashram and Sankhiya Nishtha Kendra, solid axis and creative axis, synthesis phenomenon within the creators of space. So within a creators of space means at the core of the earth, where there is a split for the 3 space into 8 octants. This split into 8 octants amounts to a creation of a core, means there is a creation of a 4 space at the origin. The origin of this origin we know is 5 space, and further the origin of 5 space is a 6 space. It is this value 4, 5 and 6 equal to value 15. It is this value 15 plus value 15 of the formulation couple. When this value 15 of a couple is available to us, then we know 53 plus 15 makes us 68. It is this value 68 which is the value of a Prithvi Nabhi Kendra. Therefore, Prithvi Nabhi Kendra means a core of a 3 space. Earth as a 3 space body with a split of a 3-dimensional space into 8 octants leads to hypercube 4 with 5 space as. Now this 5 space is solid order space, as such it leads to a solid axis. This solid axis emanating from the origin of a 4 space, and we know that within 4 space there is a spatial order, so there would be an availability of a pair of solid order dimensions. This availability of pair will lead to the transcendence ranges of solid pair of transcendence ranges would be available here. So this availability of the synthesis of the solid pair of synthesis of dimension. Further we know here there is going to be a origin of 5 space itself, and it is of a creative dimensional order, and the synthesis of the creative dimensional order ranges is 64. Therefore, this value 64 is a transition from value 53 to value 64, and the transition role is because of this 4 space in between. It takes to value 68. So in both ways, 53 plus 15 as 68 and 64 plus 4 as 68 are the dual ways in which the Prithvi Nabhi Kendra permits its approach, and it is because of it the vertical axis is passing through a core, and we will be having a pair of hemispheres of a solid order. It is because of this pair of hemispheres set up as solid dimensional orders that we will be having both in northern hemisphere, in southern hemisphere, appearing as if heads are upward. And it is this phenomenon of upward head in both hemispheres which is the phenomenon which deserves to be imbibed well, as with its imbibing only we will be in a position to be parallel to the Vedic systems of Kapil Muni location at core of the earth as Prithvi Nabhi Kendra, being of the values of a Sankhya and Nishtha Kendra. Sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel to the Vedic systems shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to dive within the cavity of one's own heart, means to dive at the core of the earth, at the Nabhi of the earth, and from where to see how the phenomenon happens to be a split And in this way, when we know that the three-dimensional frames split, and this split comes to be of when half-dimensional frames with orientations towards the center. It is this phenomenon of a split of a three-dimensional frame with orientation being inward, that is towards the center. It is this feature which, when deserved to be comprehended, will help us appreciate as to how here the tree with its roots downwards and simultaneously with roots upward is happening, and it is this happening, it is this phenomenon, it is this synthesis, it is this integration which is the phenomenon happening at core of the earth. Therefore, once we are face to face with such happening of synthetic integration at core of the earth, then we will be in a position to have an appreciation that Lord Ganesha is son of Transcendental Lord Shiv, and Lord Skanda as well is son of the Transcendental Lord. When we will be reaching from the mathematical steps of Lord Ganesha's processing steps to the mathematics of the processing steps of Lord Skanda, a six-headed Lord with having Mayur as the Vahan. So Mayur is of a formulation 10, 7 and 4, making it 21, equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. It is the Vahan, it is the carrier of Lord Skanda, a six-headed Lord. Therefore, sadhakas fulfilled with the intensity of urge to be parallel to the Vedic systems have to approach Vedic mathematics in terms of Ganita Sutras, with its first sutra being the Eka Adhikane. This sutra, the first sutra, is a composition of a pair of formulations. The first formulation is having first letter as A of value 6, while the second formulation is having first letter consonant Pa of value 5. Therefore, the formulation Eka Adhikane Purve is taking us a integration in the form of a pair of formulations, and these formulations are having the initiation points of value 6 and value 5. Therefore, 6 space and 5 space as remain integrated is going to be the setup. When we will be starting with 5 space, means as a purve, as the previous state, then from this previous state of approaching transcendental domain in terms of the mathematical steps of Lord Ganesha, then we will be having a reach at Eka Adhikane, and Eka Adhikane from Purve is the phase and stage of a reach at Lord Skanda, a six-head Lord, from a five-head Lord setup. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well. As such, the sadhakas who have attained the transcendental grace will sequentially of its own, with its inherent potentialities, will transit, transform and transcend by having a reach within transcendental domain to its origin, being a 6 space in the role as a self-referral origin of a 5 space. So we have to reach within transcendental domain, within the domain of Lord Shiva of 5 heads, to glimpse and to reach at the origin. And origin of 5 space is a 6 space, and Lord Skanda is the Lord, a 6-head Lord. One shall sit comfortably and one shall permit the transcending mind to be parallel to the Vedic systems, and for it we have to dive within the cavity of one's heart, means we have to dive within a 4 space to reach and glimpse its origin, which is a 5 space, and further transcendence within 5 space because of the spatial order will take us to the origin of 5 space itself, which is a 6 space. Therefore, the students of Vedic mathematics, science and technology in first phase are along the processing format of Lord Ganesha, and at the next phase and stage one is along the processing format of Lord Skanda. It is the reach from Lord Ganesha to Lord Skanda, which is the reach of the transcendental mathematics. It is the reach of the sadhakas fulfilled with the intensity of virtue to acquire the transcendental consciousness base for the intelligence. It is this attainment with which we have to approach the Ganita Sutras. Now see, the Ganita Sutras organization means when we take A to B, if we spread the 16 letters of say Sutra 1, Ekadhikena Purve, it will lead us to values 6, 1, 2, 7, 2, 1, 6, 8, 1, 5, 6, 2, 7, 6, 7, 1. Now this value is being achieved, and at the end, if DC, if we spread the 16 letters of Ganita Sutra 16, then we'll reach at value 3, 3, 7, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 9, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, and 13. Now, the AD should be 16 steps long range of the first letters values of all the 16 letters, and this BC limb arm shall be of 16 steps long values of the last letters of the 16 Ganita Sutras. Now see, AB will take us to value 75, BC will take us to value 123, CD will take us to value 55, and D will take us to value 64, making it in all 317 letters. See, 317 minus 283, the total letters of the Ganita Sutras gives us value 34. So see, 34 is equal to 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. And this is the fourfold manifestation layer of hypercube 9, the representative regular body of 9 space. Now see, if we are having a spatial format, a square, then the 4 corners, 4 edges and the center. There are 4 corners, value 4. There are 4 edges, value 4. And we know the center, the origin of 2 space, 3 space. So it will provide us value 3. Now, when we had started as AB, the first value, corner point value is 6. The last value is 1. Here, the first value of the 16th sutra is 3. And the last letter value is 30. See, this total is 34. Therefore, the organization format of the 16 Ganita Sutras as it is in fact leading us to a very powerful system, as that we have to begin with hypercube 2, that is a square. From this square, we have to reach at its origin, which is at 3 space, and it will take us to the hypercube of 5. From hypercube 5, we have to start at its origin, and it will take us to hypercube 8. So it is this reach at hypercube 8 with 9 space as the role of an origin. it is this origin 9 space when will be active, then when will be in the dimensional order, then we know that it as a domain will lead us to value 34, and it will provide us the format for the organization of the Ganita Sutras. One shall sit comfortably, one shall be parallel to this organization format of Ganita Sutras 1 to 16, and while one will be parallel to it, then as a step 1, one shall reach at the total letters of the sutras and upsutras and their transcendental code values. Then at next step, one shall reach at the first letters of these Ganita Sutras. Then one shall reach at the last letters of these Ganita Sutras. And thereafter, one shall reach at first letter, first 2 letters, first 3 letters, starting up till 16 letters of the Ganita Sutras. These all value tables. So table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, table 5. In terms of these 5 tables, we have to appreciate the organization in terms of these tables, say 6, 7 and 8. Sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge shall be face to face with these 8 tables of the organization format of the Ganita Sutras, and in terms of this organization format features of the organization of the text of Ganita Sutras 1 to 16, one shall urge, one shall wish for, one shall attain a transition, a smooth transition happening within the transcendental domain itself, which takes to its origin. Therefore, the transcendental domain presided by the transcendental Lord, 5-head Lord Shiva, is to be followed. First starting with the Lord Ganesha's process steps, and sequentially one will reach at the origin of the transcendental domain, and it will lead to the mathematics of the processing steps of our existence phenomena as per the Lord Skanda's enlightenment. Therefore, the sadhakas urging to be on the enlightenment path, to be parallel to the Vedic systems, shall begin with the enlightenment drive exercise parallel to the exercise of Lord Brahma, and one is to dive within one's own heart and to attain the transcendental grace. At the next step, one shall follow the processing steps of Lord Ganesha, and finally one shall reach at the processing steps of Lord Skanda as the seat being at the origin of the transcendental domain itself. This way, sadhakas shall sequentially, very gently, blissfully follow the Vedic processing steps. It is by following these processing steps one will be imbibing the values, features and format of the Ganita Sutras as Vedic mathematics. Thank you very much.